My sister survivor, Michelle Cruz, has said that in her last conversation with her sister before she was killed, she and Janelle told each other that they loved them. I wish I could say something similar, something heartwarming. When I was 15 years old, I was on the phone arguing with my mother. The last words I screamed at her were, "Why don't you just stay out of my life?" And I slammed down the phone. The next day, the bodies were discovered. If heaven had a mailbox, this is what I would write to her. Dear Mom, I really need you to know how grateful I am for the terrific memories I have of my childhood and for the solid foundation of faith you gave me. I remember that when I was little, I always felt safe, well cared for, loved without question. I grew up surrounded by close family, Jesus, music, the ocean, things many people take for granted. In fact, before you were killed, I don't think I ever experienced anything traumatic in my whole life. A bee sting, maybe having to flush a dead goldfish, but pain? No, not really. Okay, I will admit, when you and Dad divorced when I was 12, that was a little bit tough to take. But we dealt with it. Certainly no trauma to speak of. It was just life. Even in those last couple of years, when it seemed all you and I did was scream hateful things at each other, even then, Mom, I always knew that you loved me, and I hope you know that I never stopped loving you. The day you and Greg were killed, beaten to death by an intruder in our home, that day was the beginning of the darkest days of my life. About 7,300 dark days, if my math is right. It wasn't so much the specific events of that day. I barely remember those. It was that from that point on, everything changed. My day-to-day life changed, my worldview, my sense of self. Even my idea of faith changed. There was so much I never got to finish with you. So much I never got to make right. But that day, I got to the house. The first thing that caught my eye was the yellow tape, that damned yellow police tape. The kind that says, "Crime scene, do not enter." The fine print should say, "Look out, don't go in. It's so gruesome inside, you'll be scarred for life if you see it." The even finer print should say, "But wait, if you don't go in, you'll always question, how messy was it?" Everybody knows what yellow tape says. Let me tell you what it doesn't say. It doesn't say, "Oops, they're gone. You missed your chance to say goodbye, so sorry." The yellow tape certainly doesn't offer any words of comfort, like, well, at least they were together when they were killed. It also doesn't tell you which items inside will be cleaned up and returned to you, or which ones you'll never see again. So you'll always wonder, were they taken into evidence, or did the killer take them? Does he still have them? Does he reflect on them as a twisted reminder of his torturous deeds in that house? I've spent the past 35 years wishing I had never seen that damned yellow tape, that it was all a bad dream. The first 20 years, I'll admit, the image haunted me, but now it fuels me. Today, the sight of yellow tape anywhere reminds me that inside a crime scene, evidence gets collected and analyzed, and we now have data that can identify the monster who bludgeoned you and Greg to death. His DNA is on file. Can't change that. Today, yellow tape assures me that there are investigators, both paid and unpaid, thousands of them, who are looking for this guy, who won't ever stop looking for him. Now, in my mind, the image of yellow tape serves as a big caution warning for your killer, the Golden State Killer. He'd better look out. His name and face and secrets cannot stay hidden forever. These days, for me, Personally, the image of yellow tape has transformed into a yellow ribbon of sorts, one that reminds me to honor your memory. But I don't really need much reminding. I think about you and Greg every day. I miss you both so much. And I think about the others as well. I think of Brian and Katie Maggiore, of Robert Offerman and Deb Manning, of Lyman and Charlene Smith, of Keith and Patty Harrington, of Manuela Whithune, and of Janelle Cruz. I can picture all of you, young, smiling. Your smiles have been immortalized by the handful of photographs that have been shared by sleuths over and over again all these years. Your faces are etched into the minds of those who seek justice on your behalf. In my dark moments, in my nightmares, I can picture you and Greg, the anguish, the physical pain, the terror of your last moments alive, face to face with that monster. Fortunately for me, those glimpses are fleeting. In my waking, working hours, I can see and feel your strength, Mom, and your optimism and your inner joy. Those are the gifts you gave me. They are what motivate and guide me every day. I need to assure you, Mom, we are going to find this guy. With the public's help, we will find him, even if he's already dead. We've come too far not to see it through. For the ones like Jane Carson Sandler, the ones who've survived his attacks and lived with the burden of fear looking over their shoulder for the past 40 years, they deserve peace. We're going to end that reign of terror for them. For you and Greg and all the others like you, whose beautiful young lives were stolen by a madman, you deserve justice. He's going to be held accountable for you. And for Michelle Cruz and I and the other survivors who have nothing left but loose ends and memories, we deserve answers. We deserve to know the truth about what happened. And we're going to get it, Mom, I promise. We're going to get him. Love you, Deb.